Near the base of the backbone there lies a gland, larger than a hen's egg, called the prostate. It contacts the lower part of the bladder, and through it the urethra passes as it leaves the bladder. Modern science knows little about this gland, its function, or the purpose of its excretions. Little also is known of this gland in women. Some hold that there is an absence of a distinct prostate in women. Others assert that the gland is present, but smaller than in man. The ejaculatory tubes of the male testes enter this gland, and between it and the pubis is the rich venous pudendal plexus, in which ends the dorsal vein of the penis. The masters called this gland the Kanda, and termed it the seat of the Kundalini power. To possess that remarkable power in a functional degree, the gland must be in a normal, healthy state. What are the facts? In elderly men, the gland often hypertrophies, and not infrequently calcareous concretions are found embedded in it, all the result of wrong living. In many men, the gland is affected by a disorder termed prostatitis, which is a frequent complication of gonorrhea. In but few men is the gland found in a normal, healthy state. Remember this well, for this is the seat of the serpentine fire. It is true that women, as a rule, are more psychic than men, and we are learning the reason why. Their glands of psychic function are, as a rule, in much better condition. An oily substance is excreted by the prostate, which is subject to varied degree of consistency, from a thin, volatile oil that promptly evaporates when exposed to the air, to a fixed oil that produces permanent stains on paper. It is this oil that stains the linen in cases of nocturnal emissions, which occur in men who have weakened their creative centers by early masturbation and sexual excesses. In healthy, wise, vigorous men, it is a fixed oil. In the average man, it is more or less volatile. In young men of dissolute habits, it becomes filthy. In rakes, it is very malodorous, and may contain pus. Here is the seat of the terrible venereal disorders that afflict mankind. To attempt to teach such people the secret of the serpentine fire would be preposterous. And yet, it is the kind of people of which most of the multitude is composed. This oil, excreted by the prostate, enters the blood and is carried all over the body. It is one of the basic constituents of the blood, and, in its purest state, the Greeks termed it chrism. Then came the Church Fathers. When they compiled the New Testament and presented an actor to play the part of the serpentine fire, they labelled everything good as Christ, to deceive the masses. So the Greek chrism became the blood of Christ, Hebrews 10:19, 1 Peter 1:2, 1 John 1:7. A later lesson will explain how this fraud came to be known as the Christ in man, Colossians 1:24, 27. Those who reject the fraud are promptly termed atheists by the Church. The prostate consists of muscular and glandular tissue, and has 12 to 20 excretory ducts, which pour their products into the blood and into the urethra. The thick, slippery, milky fluid slowly discharged from the penis under the influence of erotic thoughts, nocturnal emissions, or sexual stimulation, is supplied largely by the prostate, with some help from the cowper's glands. This fluid constitutes a large part of the liquid portion of the semen, and, while it is necessary to the life of the spermatoza, it contains none. The cowper's glands are a pair of small organs located just beyond and below the prostate. They produce a mucus fluid and, with the prostate, contribute part of the liquid portion of the semen. In women, these organs are termed Bartholin's glands. The prostate was known by the masters as the Kanda, meaning a bulb, and in the New Testament, Greek, as the cardia. In yoga literature, the Kanda is said to be the center of the astral body. From it rise 72,000 nadis, termed astral tubes, composed of astral matter. They carry psychic currents. Kundalini Yoga, page 40. In modern man, the currents are exceedingly weak, or practically absent, due to the degenerate state of the gland, and to sexual excess. Pranic power flows through these nadis. As they are composed of astral substance, they are beyond the reach of material science, and no test tube experiments can be made of them on the physical plane. For that reason, modern science rejects all the ancient masters said on the subject. But as the mind is known by its work, so they are known by their function. Of all the nadis, the most important are the Sushumna, the Ida, and the Pingala. The Sushumna, of which Christ Jesus was a symbol, is the chief. It extends from the Muladhara chakra, or second vertebra of the coccygeal region, to Brahmandra, which term means the whole of Brahma, top of head, where dwells the soul of man. Brahmarandra is a soft place in the crown of a baby's head that is later obliterated by the growth of the head bones. The Hindus hold that Brahma created the physical body and, to give it internal illumination, entered it through the Brahmarandra and dwells therein. The Ida and Pingala nadis, the thieves crucified on each side of Christ Jesus, are not the gross sympathetic nerves, but are said to be the subtle nadis that carry the Sukshma Prana. In the physical body, these tentatively correspond to the right and left sympathetic nerve chains. Ida starts from the right portion of the scrotum and Pingala from the left. They meet with the Sushumna at the Muladhara chakras, and there form a knot. Ida extends up to the left nostril and Pingala to the right. Ida is negative and also called Chandra Nadi, moon, and Pingala is positive and also called Surya Nadi, sun. Ida is cooling, Pingala is heating. The ancient masters knew that the sun and moon, in their respective courses around the zodiac due to the Earth's motion and position, are also travelling in the human body in their corresponding orbits. The masters taught that during each lunar month, as the moon passes through the 12 signs of the zodiac, the negative etheric current shifts to another part of the body, until it travels from heels to head, and from head back again, in a complete circuit. The centre of influence, or the part of the body at which the negative current is concentrated each day, was said by the masters to be a vulnerable spot in the body on that day. In the same way, during each lunar month, the focal centre of the positive etheric current shifts from one part of the body to another, also making a complete circuit. The cool moon breath in Ida sprinkles its cooling nectar over the body, and the hot sun breath in Pingala dries it up.